when I turn up, you know I'm on my, yes, I'm on my, yes, I'm on my.
What's up, YouTube? In this video, what I'm going to talk about is what most mentors aren't going to tell you about building an agency, okay? The number one thing that most people focus on the YouTube world or Instagram or whatever is they're telling you, just go get clients. And yeah, that's the number one skill you need to focus on is client acquisition. However, the process and the processes that it takes to build an agency is what I'm going to be talking about. And, there's three major parts to it. There's hiring, there's management, there's retention, okay? Those are the three major parts outside of client acquisition. Client acquisition, I've taught you guys this like a full section on sales somewhere in my YouTube channel. Maybe I'll link it up here somewhere, and you guys can go and watch that because I did a full 3-day training on how to sell and get high ticket clients, like $5,000+ clients. However, you need three specific internal processes, and this is coming from mistakes that I made inside my agency when I was growing at an excessive rate. On the number one thing was I wasn't hiring the right time or the right people, managing them, and then as well as retaining the people as well as the clients, okay? And this comes from, me being able to interview tons of agency owners, me being able to work with a lot of you that have built agencies. And the number one thing that most people make a mistake on is, they try to be a one-man show for a lot longer than they should. Okay, let's say, for example, you go from zero to about $10,000 to $15,000 a month. You can do everything. You can probably even do everything. I was doing everything to about $20,000, $25,000, but it does burn you out to a certain degree because you're managing a lot in that space. And what it comes down to is you got to realize is when you get to a point where you're growing, you don't want to get to a point where you're growing excessively fast and you got to stop because then you realize, oh shit, I can't handle everything. Then you got to go and, you've stopped client acquisition, but then you've got to go and hire new people. And then that, now that delays you another 4 to 6 weeks. So what I usually suggest people that I teach is when you start making some good money, let's say you get to a point, you go from 0 to 10, you can do literally 0 to $10,000 a month, you can do by yourself. Everything, you can do it by yourself. Once you hit to $10,000 a month, at that point in time, I'd start passively looking at what is the things that you don't actually truly enjoy inside of your agency, okay? For me, I love sales. I loved traffic, and those are the two parts that I was really, really good at. But then I realized between those two, which parts did I not really like, and it was traffic. I didn't really like sitting in front of a computer the whole day and just trying to grow things and everything else for client ad accounts and expanding ad accounts, blah, blah, blah. I'd rather grow the front end of the company, and that's growing sales. So what I ended up doing is once I got to a point where I had to literally learn this at $25,000 a month in business, was understanding, okay, it's going to take me a lot longer for me to figure this out. I may as well do this now and kind of learn from it. And so what I suggest is once you get that $10,000 mark, I start looking at, okay, what do you not like? Okay, if you're doing social media, you may not like creating content. If you're doing videography, you may like the shooting part, but you may not like the editing part. Just figure out what part of the business is not working for you, and then go and start looking to hire talent in that space, okay? That can take over that job. That's what I did. I found my business partner today, Matt. Some of you have met him, and he literally runs the entire back end of our company while I run the front end of our company, and together it's a symbiotic relationship that helps the company grow, because he doesn't like sales, but he does understand that he can sell, but he'd rather do, ad management. That's part one. Part two is literally managing your clients, managing your time efficiently, and managing your people. Okay, managing your clients is the number one thing that I'm going to focus on in this video, and that is just making sure you're communicating with them. A lot of times, people are paying you a lot of money for you to provide a service in exchange for monetary value that you're getting. Now, when that's happening, you got to create a system and a process, whether it's you being an account manager or somebody else, and that's another part of hiring, is bringing on an account manager down the road, is when you're communicating with your clients, whether it's weekly, daily, I usually try and get my clients usually get an update from us at least once every other day. It just might be like a little one sentence, hey, things are running good, no need to update, leads are coming in, let us know how the leads are going. That's it. That's literally all we do. Sometimes we need major updates, like, hey, this ad's starting to kind of get a little bit of fatigue. Can you get us some more creatives? Can you get us another video? Kind of give them some insight. Just communicating and managing your clients, okay? Managing them so that they have proper expectations on what you're going to provide. provide. That's number 2. And the last but not least is number 3 is retention. Management goes really, really heavily with client retention, is because the reason being is when you get to a point where you've got a lot of clients, you got to try and retain them and not kind of end up in this hamster wheel of where you're getting new clients, letting go clients, getting new clients, letting go clients, and you want to try and retain for as long as you can. Okay, the average client, it really depends on the niche. Our lifetime value for a client ranges somewhere between 8 to 18 months. That's a big spread, but it also depends on the type of client. Like some clients in the event space are around 8 months because 2 months of the year they don't do any events and then they start back up again. Then they'll be like, so it'll be like 8 months run. So they go from, depending on the part of the year they're in, or what part of the world they're in, we'll go 8 months, they'll take 2 months off, then 2 months we'll rebuild again, build a whole plan, kind of launch again, boom, 8 months. And then that's a circle for a lot of our event clients. That being said, a lot of the times you've got to pay attention, to what you're doing and not doing to retain clients. Because sometimes there's little tweaks you can do. And a lot of this that I'm teaching you some mistakes that I've made inside my agency where, it took me years and I was just like spinning my wheels trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and eventually figured out the system and the processes. And a lot of those processes that I'm giving you guys here, I teach very, very heavily in depth in the agency mentorship program. And the reason I call it a mentorship program, it's more for people that have kind of wet their feet or kind of want the idea of understanding how to grow an agency and be mentored through the systems, the processes, everything that we've created inside an agency. So it's like more like an agency in a box, but I don't really like to call that term because I want you guys to literally get off your ass and go to work. So hope you guys like this video. The number one thing you need to focus on is sales. But outside of that, the 3 main things that most people aren't going to tell you and most mentors aren't going to tell you is hiring, management, and retention. And as long as you can keep those things going with not affecting your client acquisition strategy, you have a very, very, very profitable agency. Hope you guys like this video. Give this video a thumbs up, guys. If you haven't followed me already on some of my other social media channels, the links are in the description below. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. These videos, like I say, they come out about 2 to 3 times a week, depending on my schedule. Instagram, I'm usually storing every single day, and you guys get to see behind the scenes. And I'm also doing a lot of polling and like a lot of questions and free value on there because I want to get the most amount of content from there to give it to you guys here, so I can go more in depth. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.